Ah! What's going on, guys? My name is Mr. Red. May the 4th be with you, and today we actually have a video. I know I haven't done one of these in a long time, but today, since it is May 4th, I thought that I would do a lightsaber review. This is the Fallen lightsaber by Ultrasabers. So today we are going to just take a look at this bad boy, go over some of the details, some of the things I like about it, some of the things I don't like about it. We'll talk about pricing, we'll compare it to some of my other sabers, yeah, so let's get started. So first things first, as you can see, this bad boy is enormous. It is 16 inches long. The hilt is, rather, the handle is 16 inches long. The blade is 32 inches long. And for comparison, this is the Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber by Hasbro. Or Disney, maybe? I'm not sure who makes them nowadays. But this one's only 11 inches long. So we put them next to each other. You can see how much bigger the Fallen is than the standard sized saber. So right off the bat, that's going to be the first thing that most people notice, is that this bad boy is enormous, and it's not for everyone's hands. I have sort of, I guess, medium average size hands. They're not small, but they're not huge. And I think the grip on this is very comfortable for me. You know, I'm not holding it up by the pommel or anything, or by the emitter rather. Mostly handling it just by the handle or by the pommel. And so for me, personally, it's really comfortable, but if you do have smaller hands, it might feel way too big. And so one of the reasons why I think this saber in particular is so big is because it doesn't actually belong to a human. This lightsaber is from the game Jedi Fallen Order, and it belongs to Jedi Master Yaro Tapal, I think his name is, and he is like an 8-foot tall alien dude with enormous hands. And this is only half of his saber. He has another one of these attached to the pommel as a double-sided lightsaber. So that's why this thing is so huge. It's meant for a giant alien guy, and it gets cut in half in the game, and then Cal uses it as his own. Alright, so now we'll go over some of the details. This is actually an exact model, basically, from the game Jedi Fallen Order, except for a few different things. Firstly, the pommel is not broken. It's just got a cap that unscrews, and you can put right back on like that. In the game, Cal's is busted and broken, and there's wires and stuff sticking out. And if you wanted to make it like that, I'm sure it'd be really easy to just scuff this up a bit, glue some little wires in there and have them stick them out, and make it look sort of like the actual game. Another difference is these teeny little windows here in the emitter. There's one here, and then there's one above it here. Wait, didn't do a good job. Here and here, you guys can see that, these two little windows here. Those are not on Cal's actual saber, as well as these black stripes on the side of the emitter here. They are there to reinforce this particular saber, because this saber is actually a battle-ready saber. I can actually fight motherfuckers with this saber. And so these black stripes are there because there are pins in this model to keep the pommel stronger there are screws under them to keep this stronger rather than the pins that it comes with originally. So if you really wanted an exact replica of Cal's lightsaber, this probably wouldn't be the one that you would want because it's a little big, but if you buy from Saberforge and not Ultrasabers, I think they have a little bit more accurate model. It just kind of depends on what you prefer. Alright, so now let's talk about the hilt comfort. As you can see, or as you might be able to see, I'll get closer to the camera, the grip is just a bunch of these tiny little, like, stipple sort of squares. And so they actually provide amazing grip. In fact, if I was holding this and one of my friends tried to rip it out of my hand, it would probably really hurt. It'd probably feel like sandpaper coming out of my hand. That's how, like, good and gripping it is. Although, honestly, they probably wouldn't be able to rip it out of my hands. As far as holding this saber goes, some people I've seen online get annoyed at this little box right here, and they'll just pop it right off to have a smooth cylinder for their handle. I mean, it's totally up to you. I personally have been swinging this thing around for a while, and it really doesn't get in my way, but I know that has been a problem out there for some people. So this, I think, is removable. I don't want to try to remove mine because it's not bothering me, like I said, but I have heard that people have removed it if it bothers them. Alright, so next we will talk about the internals. This one is one of the simplest models you can get. I got a Guardian Blue blade. The basic soundboard, I'm not exactly sure which one it is, but it's just the standard sound font. And then my battery option that I chose was the actual battery-powered one, because they have a few different options. One of them is a actual charger that you just plug in. This one, as you can see, has 4 AAA batteries that fit right into the speaker, slide right into the handle, and then you take the pommel. And actually, I'll show you guys this right now while I have it out. I stuck a piece of foam in my pommel, just a tiny little piece of foam. It originally will come like this, hollow. And the reason I did that is because this thing is super loud. I don't know exactly if I'll be able to demonstrate how loud it is with my microphone here, but when I turned this thing on, it hurt my ears. It legitimately hurt my ears. It's just a little too high-pitched for me. So here, I will turn it on, and we'll see what you guys think. Oh, hang on. Woo! That is real loud and real high-pitched. So that is why I added the foam. So here, let's go ahead and put this foam back in. Way more tolerable, no super high squeal in your ear. I just think it's definitely necessary. I have read online some people really like how loud this one is because when you're outside, it doesn't really matter how loud it is, and people are running around outside with their lightsabers. So it's kind of personal preference again, but for me, it's just way too loud, so I had to stick a little piece of foam in there. Alright, so next up on our list of things to talk about is the swing sensitivity. This lightsaber, like I said, is a fully fighting lightsaber, so it will clash with other lightsabers. Unlike these ones back here, these ones are just made for show by Hasbro. They're only like $100, $150. And they're really just to hang up on your wall and have the sort of prop. Because if you smash these around, the LEDs inside the blade will definitely break. So, with it being a combat lightsaber, I think that the swing sensitivity is a little bit too low. Like, you really, really have to swing it in order to get any sound. If I just toss it back and forth like this. See, on occasion you might get it, but you really gotta whip this thing around to hear it. Which, I mean, like I said, it is a fighting lightsaber, so you are gonna want to get those smacks in and have it like that. And I don't know, I think that it could be just a little bit more sensitive when it comes to swinging. I wish it would sort of hum more as you bring it back and forth. It only does it every so often. Whereas, I don't know, here, actually, do a comparison while we're at it. God dang it. I'll get to that in a sec. Alright, so while we're at it, we'll do a comparison here. This is the Obi-Wan lightsaber, like I said. You pretty much barely have to move this thing, and it'll make those sounds. You barely have to touch it with your hand. I mean, I'm really just giving it a little tap. So these ones are way more sensitive. which I like. I wish that the Fallen Order one was just a smidge more sensitive. And while we're doing comparisons, we might as well turn these bad boys both on together. So this light is insanely bright. It looks way cooler on the camera than it does in real life, but this one is super bright. I'm sure you'll be able to tell that it is... Oh, actually, it's not that noticeable on my screen. In real life, this one is way, way brighter. I'm not entirely sure if you guys can tell that from here. They look pretty even on my screen there. Here, I'm going to shut this light off quick and see if that does anything. I don't think so. I'm just blinding myself with these things. So here, let's try this. Shut this one off. And then we will grab the Luke Skywalker one, because this one is from 2014, and I believe this one is from 2019. So the sound and the lights are way more updated in the Fallen Order one, obviously. So that's a little more, whoops, hang on. That's a little more noticeable, I think. The Fallen Order one is much, much brighter than the Anakin Skywalker one, or the Luke Skywalker one, rather. Okay, so now, one of the things that I don't like about this lightsaber is the power switch. So when you turn it on, obviously you just press the button to turn it on. However, you can't just press the button to turn it off. Pressing the button again turns the clash on, as if you're like stuck, you know? And then pressing it again will shut that off. And the way to turn the lightsaber off is you actually have to hold the button, and then it will shut off. So, in my opinion, I think those should be switched. I think you should tap the button to turn it on, tap the button to shut it off, and then hold the button for the clash, because then you would be able to hold, you know, for as long as you're clashing, and then release when you're done clashing, instead of having to time it where you press the button to clash, and then press the button again once you're done clashing. I just think it would be way easier to make cooler videos and cooler sound demonstrations while fighting if those two things were reversed. One other thing that's not really a big deal, but it's just kind of annoying, is these tiny little circles here are actually screws that are just screwed into these little holes, and sometimes they can get loose, and if you don't notice that they're loose, they might fall out and then you might lose them. I've noticed mine get loose just a little bit after clashing around a bit, so that's definitely something that I would hate to see, is just looking down at my saber one day and realizing that one of these little silver screws is just gone from fighting. Alright, so let's go over the accessories on this lightsaber. As you might have noticed, it has a CoverTech clip here on the bottom of the handle, and that is for one of these Jedi CoverTech clips that you can order with it, or you can order them independently. There are tons of Etsy sellers, for instance, that make these, so if you want to support an Etsy maker, I suggest going on Etsy to buy one of these. They're really simple little clips. They just clip right onto your belt or your tunic, and then the CoverTech wheel will slip right into that groove, just like that. Super easy. And then to remove it, there are two pinching little clasps on the side that just allow it to slip right out. Another feature of this lightsaber is that the blade is actually removable, unlike the Hasbro lightsabers. The reason why the Hasbro lightsabers are not removable is because the blade actually has a string of LEDs. As you can see, the light, here actually, do a better example like doing this. The light actually crawls up and down the blade for these lightsabers. Starts at the bottom, goes to the top, and then comes back from the top. Whereas for the Fallen, it's simply a really bright LED in the middle of it that shines through the blade, which is why it sort of turns on instantaneously. So that's just one difference between the two. I think I like the crawl better than the instantaneous, but honestly, I don't really have too much of an opinion on that. So to remove this blade, there is a tiny, teeny, itty bitty little screw in between these two windows. I think you guys can see it right there. And it comes with a tiny little Allen wrench if you want. Otherwise, these are super cheap. They're like, 10, 20 cents at your local hardware store. You just got to find the right size. And all you do is unscrew it. But you got to be careful because this tiny little screw is exactly that, a tiny little screw. I can show it without it falling there. Right on the end there. Okay. So once we have that removed, you can actually just slip the blade right out. And then it comes with your choice of blade plug. You can get different designs for the tops of these. I just went with the standard silver shiny design. Nothing fancy. You just slip the blade plug right back in. Whoa. They're a little finicky because they're smaller than, or they're shorter than they need to be, I think. So they kind of slide around a little bit. Jesus. Alright, and then you just put the screw right back in, and voila, your blade is plugged, and no nasties are going to get in there while you're hanging it around your belt and walking around Comic-Con and stuff like that. Still works. Acts as sort of a flashlight, honestly. Because, again, this LED is super, super bright. So that's kind of cool. And it makes a cool little prop to sort of just, set on a stand or something if you'd want to go that route. Jeez, my freaking hair, yo. I'm stuck in quarantine. I can't go get a dang haircut. So again, this is just a normal Fallen saber. It's got the standard sound font, standard blue Guardian blade, regular blade plug. I didn't even buy the Allen wrench with it. I tried to save as much money as I could with this bad boy, and I will put a link in the description if you guys want to buy this for yourself, or if you want to at least check it out. It will be in the description below. So go ahead and take a look at that if that tickles your fancy. Otherwise, what else is there to say? We went over size, hilt details, hilt comfort, swing sensitivity, the clash sensitivity, the volume, super loud. We compared it to the other lightsabers back here. So I guess last but not least is pricing. This one, like I said, those ones back there are around $100 to $150 depending on when you buy them and who you buy them from. For instance, Target does these weird sales where I can get them for super cheap. Like my Mace Windu one was $75 from Target, and it's like $175 at GameStop. So it really depends on where you get them. You can find them for pretty cheap if you want. However, this bad boy is going to cost you close to $300. I believe it was $260 something for me. I'm not entirely sure the exact price, but I really want to say $262 after tax and everything, and shipping and whatnot. It's actually, and that might sound like a lot to some of you, but there are also sabers that you can get from different places that will cost you thousands of dollars. So as far as combat sabers and replicas go, it's actually not that bad. But like I said, if you just wanted a regular movie one, you can get them way cheaper from Target or GameStop or, somewhere else, anywhere online probably. Alright guys, well, I think that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. I will go over my entire collection if you guys want. Just let me know, leave a comment, and maybe that's something that we will do in the future. But for now, I think that is it for today. So peace out, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day. May the 4th be with you, and remember to always trust in the Force.